So more writing equations, shooting with parallel and perpendicular, because again, pretty sure you're going to see this on your EOC, but instead of being given the equation in slope-intercept form, which is your y equals mx plus b, we are given these in standard form, which means it is placed with the x and the y on one side. So you have some options, but we're going to practice the most skills. So we're going to move our x because we want to get it in the slope-intercept form. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides because we want y by itself. And so we're going to, with 4y equals 20 minus 2x. At that point, you're then going to, and this is again just practicing from standard form to slope-intercept, we're going to divide everything by 4 to get it off that y. So we're going to reduce where necessary. So 20 divided by 4 is going to give me 5. And 2 over 4 can be reduced to 1/2 x. And that is a negative 1/2 x. So if we put it in the order that we like, where it's slope first, so really sticking to that y equals mx plus b, my m value is a negative 1/2. And my b value is a 5. So we now have our new line. And what we needed was our slope, because remember, to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, and really just in general, to write the equation of the line, it's most ideal to have your slope, so your m value, and then a y-intercept. In this case, I was giving nothing besides an x and a y and an equation. So we had a lot more to do. We needed an m and a b at this point. So now we have our m for our first line and our b for our next equation, because it says we want a parallel line. So this b is not important. So this y-intercept is not important to our final answer, but it is necessary to do the solutions to find your m to be able to do whether it be parallel or perpendicular. So speaking to parallel, remember that means they have the same slope. So we had a negative 1/2, so you know that's going to be negative 1/2. So what I like to do is, if I'm writing, especially in pencil or all in one color, I like to have a highlighter around or something colorful, so I know I can hold on to my slope up here, and then I know I'm going to use this point because we want it to be parallel to 2x plus 4y equals 20, but passing through 4 and negative 6. And that 4 and negative 6, we have 4 as your x value, and that negative 6 is going to be your y value. So the negative 6 is going to be our y value. So we have a 4 and a 6. So our x, again, is going to be 4, and our y is going to be negative 6. And though this seems like a lot of steps, it's keeping you super neat and focused and not mixing numbers up, because you got a lot of math going on right here, and you want to keep things in the right place. So we're going to do y equals our m, which is a negative 1/2, times our x, which is going to be 4. So y equals mx plus b. Set everything up in the right places. And then we're going to get over here and solve. And you could solve below if you want. This is, again, just showing you your steps and each thing as you go along. So a negative 1/2 of 4 is going to give me a negative 2 plus b. I'm going to want to get b by itself. So we're going to take the inverse of that negative 2. And so we're going to add 2 to both sides. If I owe you $6, or you're in the whole 6, and I mentioned in live class yesterday, sometimes it's nice to have a number line, and on your EOC day, it really might be beneficial to draw this just to make sure. I mean, we know we're doing things right, but especially when you don't have a calculator and we're nervous anyway, we make mistakes. So negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're at a negative 6 here is where we started, and we added 2. So we add 2, that means we're going to move to the right 2. So this is going to be a negative 4. So if we know, one, that we have test anxiety, quiz anxiety, it's go time anxiety, whatever you want to call it, so you're going to get nervous anyway, there's things that we can do to take away a little bit of that opportunity to make big oopses. So then to write our equation, we need our y-intercept of our new line and our same slope from the original line, because this is a parallel line. So it's 1/2 x negative 4 plus a negative 4. But remember, we talked about yesterday, 1/2 x, negative 1/2 x minus 4 is probably how you're going to see that answer more times than not, instead of plus a negative. So again, written in sentence form, you're going to get it in slope-intercept form. So number 1, solve for y. Number 2, identify parallel slope, since it wants a parallel line. Identify the given variables. So know what do you have, what you don't have. So we're missing the y-intercept for our new line. And then we're going to plug in our variables and solve. Go back, make sure you grab your slope and your new y-intercept, not the original one, because that's not important to anybody except this line itself. And we need two lines that are never going to touch. All right, so working on one more. Let's do another one. So we have our 6x plus 3y equals 9. Again, that's in standard form. So first thing we're going to do is write it to where we can get y by itself. So 6x plus 3y equals 9. And we do want y by itself. So back to our equation solving skills, our line of great divide, knowing what we're trying to get by itself. We need to move that 6x. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides to get rid of it over here on my y side. And then 9 and 6x are not like terms, so we're just going to write 9 equals 6x. They cannot be put together because one has a variable and one does not. Y is not quite by itself yet. We have 3 times y, so we're going to divide everything by 3, and you want to do each one. That gets rid of my 3 on my y, so that's looking good. So we're now in y equals 9 divided by 3 is a positive 3, and then negative 6 divided by 3 is going to be a negative 2x. This is fine as long as you're paying attention to the slope being the coefficient that's attached to x, and then that your y-intercept is the constant 3. Or for a lot of us, we want to rewrite it. So y equals, and our m value is that negative 2x plus b, which is at positive 3. We are writing a parallel line. So again, parallel, parallel, parallel means same slope. So we want to make sure that we're reading the word parallel, not accidentally doing perpendicular or any of the other options. So making sure that we're using the same slope. So same as our starting line, which is going to be a negative 2. So we're going to use negative 2, and then we have our coordinate up here, which is 3, 1, which is our x and our y. So our negative 2, 3, and 1. So our x is 3, our y is 1. So if we use our 1 as our y, so we're going to do 1 equals, my slope is a negative 2. My x is going to be a 3. And then we do not have our new y-intercept, because remember that 3 means nothing to the second line. That just is where the first line we're referencing starts. So 1 equals negative 2 times 3 gives me a negative 6 plus b. So again, we're going to be really neat and hold ourselves accountable, because again, these are going to probably really likely to be on the EOC. So we need to start good skills now, good organization. To get b by ourselves, we're going to add 6 to both sides. So 7 equals b. We now have our new b. So we have our new b, because the two things you need, remember, is slope and y-intercept, which is our m and our b value. Remember, slope can also be called rate of change, and y-intercept could also be called starting point. Slope could be called rise over run, or coefficient of x, so the number that is going to be attached to x. And since this line is parallel, we're going to use that slope that we solved for that was the same once we isolated our y. So it's negative 2x, and then we're going to use our b that was right here, which is going to be a 7. Now, you can go to Desmos if this happens to be calculator active, and you can type y equals negative 2x plus 7 in one of the lines, and you can actually put 6x plus 3y equals 9 in one of the other lines and graph it and scan really far out and make sure those two lines never touch. All right, so that's writing a line parallel to another line when given the original line in standard form. Hope you got it. Use Desmos. Email me. Call me if you need help, guys.